things, they're interesting, and we celebrate them because we know they're hard to achieve. But why do they have to be? Why can't people just become a better person with a download? Do we want someone to fucking have to run marathons for 10 years to be a better person? Yeah. Maybe there's a download, beep, and all of a sudden you're like a guy who runs marathons every day for 10 years. You're like a stoic person who just appreciates things for what they are. You don't come with any bullshit. You're not emotionally over needy. You don't require additional attention. Like, there's all these things that people are allowed to do. They require additional attention that they don't really deserve. Well, it's the same thing on the flip side. Like, the people that get attention for things that they have accomplished, they want it, and they just fucking, that's why they're doing it. Like, that's not good. And it's also not good that people want attention for things they don't deserve attention for. Like, you didn't do anything. Like, why you want to be celebrated? You got work to do. You're lazy. You eat too much. What are you doing? Stop saying it's the world's fault. It's not the world's fault. Get up. Stop farting on yourself and go outside. Go.
Just go outside. You can fart on yourself.
Go outside. But if you just get all that with a download, why do you have to fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, for sure, you got a download. We all got downloads, right? I got a fairly lucky download where there wasn't a lot of trauma. It wasn't anything unsurmountable. Some people get downloads that are horrendous. And they have to work their way through childhood sexual abuse, right? They could have been molested by the time they were babies, right? That's a real thing across the world. So imagine that download.
Well, that's okay.
Right. Imagine if you can just come along and fix that. Oh, we're going to take that and just fix that issue and then give you a guy who climbed all the mountains download, and then you're going to learn Kung Fu, like Neo in the Matrix. Give you that download. Calculus, that download. Why wouldn't you do that? Do you want to work hard? Well, I want to earn it on my own fucking back.
But that would be one of the big controversies, which is like, okay, so we've got one league of baseball players that achieved their ability to play baseball through a combination of skill and talent and practice, and then we have this other league. They're all 14, but they did a download, so that now they're like 50 times better than any living baseball player. Watching them is like watching some kind of like psychedelic geometry because they're so fucking good and the balls move so fast. It's like the most insane thing you've ever seen. But do you want to watch that?
Yes!
Or do you want to watch...
Yes!
No, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to watch an old baseball game. Oh, yeah, let's go watch the fucking Dodgers. You know, they haven't had any downloads. It's just old classic baseball when the balls moved less than 600 miles per hour. When the balls didn't break the sound barrier.
Shit, right?
But that's the problem, because you're going to have a group of people that rejects becoming whatever this thing is. And those people, they're gonna say things like, we're being ostracized. We're being pushed to the side. And it's like, well, kind of. But also what's happening is you don't want to adapt. And the history of evolution is adaptation, for better or for worse. It might be better to be a primordial person who hasn't done gene therapy, who hasn't transformed their genetics, which is coming. The new vaccines are part of that, but the thing that's coming, because the new that shit sped stuff up. Right. What's coming is going to be again and again. You're going to get this opportunity where it's like, do you want to get rid of your diabetes? Maybe. Okay, we're going to give you this thing that's going to reprogram your DNA so that you're not all fucked. Your insulin is working, so everything's working. Your pancreas is working. And some people who have diabetes are going to be like, no, I think I want to stay like this. I don't want to alter my DNA. And other people are going to be like, yes, do it now. Fucking inject it in me. I don't want to have to go through a life like this anymore. I want to see what it's like. And not just that, aging, and not just that, cancer, which I'm quite excited about because I had it. And having had it, it's like it's any advancement in that realm is like exciting because it took my mom too, and obviously for not just my own selfish ass, but everybody out there is contending with it. But like this is going to be every few years. There's going to be a thing where it's like, yeah, you don't want it? Okay, you don't have to get it. But the more you don't get it, then when it gets to intelligence, man, when it gets to just like, or what if you want to give your workers genetic therapy that makes them faster, or smarter or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just
quicker.
Yeah. Suddenly what happens is the species they say this happens in species where they split.
Well, especially when you have a thing like CRISPR. You have the breakthrough technology where you can actually start manipulating genes. That wasn't a thought before. Now it's a real practice. And they've actually done it on human fetuses in China, right?
It's coming, man.
And didn't they have an unintended positive consequence?
Yeah, I think so.
They got smarter.
Yeah.
Like, whoops.
Whoops.
Yeah, it was John Cena apologizing. So sorry. Everybody got smarter. Love the Chinese people. So sorry.
Yeah.
This guy got smarter. It was an accident. We're just trying to protect him from HIV. That's what it was, right? Wasn't it? I think they were trying to give them protection from HIV.
I think
Can you Google that, Jamie? I'm going to be butchering this.
I think the guy who did that got in trouble, too, right? I think he got arrested.
Yeah, he got wink, trouble. Come on, man. They told him to do that.
I was trying to decode the wink trouble, like wink trouble.
What was the question? How to phrase that question?
I think the question is like what? Yeah, something about AIDS, genetic therapy, China,
CRISPR. I think it was twin fetuses. And they tried to
the sound
give
of
them
being
protection.
Stoned online. We are now. This is literally the sound. When you're online and you're trying to remember what you're Googling.
This is part of the problem with my podcast, man. Is that people, for some reason or another, think I should stop doing it this way. Gene edits to CRISPR babies might have shortened their life expectancy. Whoops. Study of almost 500,000 people links mutation that protects against HIV infection to an earlier death. Okay. Well, that is a weird link. That I don't necessarily understand how they could just make that leap. It's like that. Put that back up. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's what caused their earlier death. It could have mean they just fucked themselves into oblivion and ran out of jizz. That's possible too. No shot of getting HIV ever. How many people would just go ham? Scientists who edit the genomes of twin girls and attempt to make them resistant to HIV may have inadvertently shortened their lives. But I think there's another thing that they were saying. They think it impaired some sort of a cognitive benefit.
That's just what you say after you find out you fucked up some babies. You're like, but they're smarter.
Right.
Trust me, I gotta go. Wait a few years,
in 10 years, they're gonna come up with a cure for their life expectancy being shorter. So
exactly.
Relax.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
Why? The problem with me, man, is like, why they have to call it CRISPR? It's like CRISPR babies. It sounds like a KFC fucking snack.
Bacon.
Yeah,
like a bacon sandwich.
Oh, I love CRISPR babies in the morning.
That's a terrible name. That would have been a good name for like a bacon store.
Not like the future of humanity. We owe it all to CRISPR. Yeah, but I think that's we're just witnessing humanity reckoning with this what's coming, the technology. Because here's the other thing, like, if you look at what they're saying about not just the Wuhan laboratory, but like, did I just say laboratory? Like, I'm trying to say
Wuhan.
The Wuhan. What did I say? But you're drinking. Oh, thank you. I almost forgot. But like, if you look at so the big controversy right now is virology gain of function research, which is taking some fucking virus, altering a little bit. And sometimes you need to do that to study it, right? Like I was looking it up. There's like mice pox, I think, in Australia. Because basically, like, you want to take this virus, whatever it may be, that might pose a threat to humanity. Like what happened in Galveston.
Right.
That's what they were looking at. The idea being, okay, here, like...
we went to a place in Galveston where they study these things.
Oh, yeah.
We said, what happened in Galveston? Like, there was an outbreak that people don't know about.
The Galveston fucking outbreak.
They're going to be like, what happened in Galveston? They're like, fuck, what happened in Galveston? Who's talking about? Let's Google it.
No, we just went to this creepy place where there was a creepy only because there's tiny little microscopic demons all around you.
And I should say that we got so high at the airport that we missed our flight. They left. They took off. They were already gone. We're like, where's this flight? We were so baked. We were sitting there talking for so long. And then we had to take a flight late that night. And we flew all through the night and then landed in the morning and then had an hour to sleep, I think.
Then the next day, you're in one of the most secure bio laboratories.
What'd you put up, David?
Mousepox.
Oh, wow.
Mousepox. So the idea is you have, essentially you're planning a virus, 2 multiverses over where Apple's a wizard tower, a virus is a demon. And so if you're one of the royal demon defenders, you got to study what are the most possible 15 demons that might break out of hell and rampage through Earth, right? And so in this dimension, that's the coronaviruses, but not just the coronaviruses, Ebola, not just Ebola, all the possible things we might have to worry about, avian bird flu, right? So if you're in one of these labs, you need to study it, but you got to study it in a living thing that is easier to study than whatever it came from. Gain of function, make it so that it infects mice, right? Now you can put it in mice and start studying the way it works in living organisms, blah, 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 right? So that's gain of function research, right? So, virologists, so now there's a moratorium on it, at least I hope there. It's very strict. But virologists are kind of look, we have to do gain of function if we're going to study the shit that's coming, because we want to try to at least begin the process of making a vaccine, understanding how it's going to affect civilization, so that if it does come, if the demon comes out of hell, we know the spells to cast. That's the reason we got the COVID vaccines. Everyone's they started working on it 6 months ago. It's no, they didn't. They've been working on versions of it for a while because of this very thing. But anyway, the problem with gain of function, the double-edged sword is, you're making the thing. It's instead of waiting for the demon to explode from hell, you summon it in a sealed chamber of Lornax.
Where they put the Hulk in that clear box?
Yes, exactly.
Pull that video up. That text up, brother. Because this text is insane about micepox. I'm going to read this to you folks because it's such a fucking... Listen to this. A virus that kills every one of its victims by wiping out part of their immune system has been accidentally created by an Australian research team.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. A virus that kills every one of its victims was accidental. Whoops, we were trying to make syrup, and we wanted to put it on our pancakes, but we accidentally made a virus that kills everything. What does that mean? Wait a minute, it's not an accident if that's what you're working on.
Well, no.
Is that what they're working on?
But the reason they're working on it is because you would rather understand it in a laboratory than all of a sudden mousepox naturally mutates and suddenly shit tons of people are just dying and we have no idea how to deal with it.
For sure.
That's the argument for gain of function research.
Oh, I get it.
Okay.
No, I get the argument for it. It's really interesting, right? It's how do you understand how a virus mutates other than making it mutate yourself? You do it in this really safe, contained environment.
Life finds a way,
well,
doesn't
that place wasn't safe. That place had been cited for safety violations in 2018.
I didn't know that.
Find that place. This mousepox is scaring the shit out of me, Australia. What are you doing, Australia?
Wait, I thought it meant it only killed 100% of mice. It means humans?
It does kill 100% of mice because it hasn't jumped to humans. But if it did make the leap to humans with the same efficacy...
Jesus Christ.
That's not good. That's 100% death. That's the thing, man. It's if you go back throughout humanity, we hit a bunch of fucking pit stops where things went real bad and we had to restart the whole race. And I think at times human beings got down to because of natural disasters, just a few thousand people. And for sure, because of plagues, the human race probably got dropped down to multiple times, half of what it used to be or a third what it used to be. That happened a bunch of times. So the human race itself, as we got real close ones. I think in Indonesia there was a super volcano that blew off 60,000 years ago. We've talked about this so many times. I really wish I could pull this off at the top of my head. 2018 diplomats warned of risky coronavirus experiments in a Wuhan lab. No one listened. Yeah. Okay, so 2018. People were like, hey, what the fuck?
It'd make a good 80s comedy. Like a bunch of, like stoners working at a viral laboratory.
What was I just talking about just before that?
You were talking about the, you said you've talked about it many times. Oh, the fucking super volcano, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I think it was in Indonesia, right?
I think Toba. Yeah.
Toba. And it killed everybody except for, I think it was down to 7,000 people. So the whole Earth, think about the 7 billion people, they were down to 7,000. What horrors did those people see? The people that made it, how many people did they eat?
A lot.
How many of their friends did they see die? I mean, what did they do? There's 7,000 people. You go from 1 million people to 7,000. The sky becomes black with soot as this volcano bursts fire into the sky, and it drowns out all the sun, kills all the plants. You have no food. Animals starve to death.
Yeah.
They might have just eaten each other. I mean, who the fuck knows?
Well, yeah.
Right now, anthropologists are going crazy. You don't understand history.
You know, what is it? Yeah. Well, but...
You're right.
They're right. They're right. I mean, this is, you know, it would be nice if, like, when you're watching Fox News or whatever the left or the right fucking propaganda mechanism is, every once in a while they would just admit, they're like, we don't know what we're talking about, y'all. We're performing. But then, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's would be nice if every once in a while they, like, you know, broke the fourth wall to like.
They can't. They don't have any freedom. That's part of the problem with that whole format. The difference between what you do and what they do is it's on the opposite side of the matrix.
People would believe them more, though.
It doesn't matter. Then it would be a corporate decision to do that, and it wouldn't work. North America settled by just 70 people, study concludes.
What?
Holy shit.
Give me a break. How is that possible?
Fucking shit.
70 people?
But scroll up, bro. Let me read some of this shit. This is nuts.
I was looking at the genetic bottleneck theory stuff. That's what that Toba catastrophe talks about.
Oh, is that what they think? That's what
one of the things that could have created it. So
it was a core sample thing too, though, right?
Yeah, there were other animals that have gotten down there too. So I was just like, I stumbled across this.
A new study of DNA suggests North America was originally populated by just a few dozen people who crossed a land bridge from Asia during the last ice age. About 14,000 years ago, humans crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia to North America.
Wow.
Most experts agree. You know, I got called racist because I believe that.
What?
Yeah. Somebody pointed me to something. Like, why? Somebody sent me a thing saying, why is this racist? Like, people think that some folks, like colonists, believe that people came here across the Bering Land Bridge and populated North America, where some folks think there was native people just here, period. Like there was native people everywhere. And I gotta admit, I never even thought about it until somebody said that, because if there were native people in South America, for sure. They did. I mean, do we believe that all the native people in North America and South America walked down from Siberia? Is that what we believe? They don't really know, right?
It sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, but it's just guessing. At this point, maybe that's right.
Who knows?
Or maybe there's people already here. Maybe we don't know. Maybe they hopped on rafts.
I like the Graham Hancock version of it way better. It's like we're older and older and older.
I think so.
So yeah, did like a group of people cross an ice bridge at some point to end up in a place that it recently experienced a meteor or a comet like impact on the planet? Maybe.
Just imagine this shit. 70 people.
70 people
coming across from Siberia. Well, by the way, during that time, 14,000 years ago, you know what was alive on that Bering Land Bridge that they think kept people from crossing over sooner? No. The short-faced bear. The short-faced bear makes a grizzly bear look like a koala bear.
So you had to fight bears.
You couldn't fight bears. You could not fight a short-faced bear. A short-faced bear is so big, it's a demon in a movie. Look at that. The biggest of all the bear species.
Wasn't that tough?
Well, Randall Carlson And Graham Hancock believed that short-faced bear was a victim of the Younger Dryas impact theory.
Yeah.
They believe that the asteroids slammed into the planet, and there's real proof of that in terms of when they do core samples, according to these guys, that in that range of like when the ice age ends, there's all this nuclear glass that indicates there were some sort of impacts all over the place, all throughout Asia and Europe.
I love that shit.
It's a wild theory, man. It's such a crazy theory when you think about that. But that fucking bear died off.
Yeah.
And people made it because we're ingenuity. We are ingenuity.
We are ingenuity. We're Toyota.
We're number one.
Yeah.
We're number one. But we figured out how to survive, and they didn't have enough food. They're so fucking big. They need so much food.
Dude, so, okay. Extinction hypotheses, right?
Okay.
We always talk about it.
But we haven't talked about it with wigs on before.
You're right. We can repeat our conversations. I love it.
Can I just say something before you do it?
Yeah.
I'm better with you. I'm my best podcaster with you. I'm a better. We know each other so well. We used to be roommates.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. How many months? How long was I living at your house?
I don't know. 6? Was it like 6?
It was so close to that.
It was so much fun. I'd love to have you at my house. I thought it was amazing.
That was a blast. I gotta tell you, man, to like emerge out of this fucking pandemic, having been with my wife who was pregnant for a lot of it, having
Which
kids.
is really scary.
Oh,
right?
yeah.